Hello you guys, I'm Fabio Hart coming back with another video. In this video, what I want to talk about is buying contracts versus leasing contracts. Now, often I get asked, not all the time, but often I get asked, Fabio, should I lease this contract? Or a subcontractor company reached out to me, or Fabio, should I buy this contract? First off, I'm kind of against both of them, but if you have to do one or the other, I would probably suggest that you purchase the contract as long as you can control it. When you lease a contract, you're more dealing with the realms of like a franchise, right? You come into the franchise, they get the contract for you, but you don't necessarily own the contract. The contract is control under that subcontracting company or that franchise company, okay? So yeah, you buy in, they, get you the contracts, get you situated, you run, by their system or what have you, and you can make a lucrative income. Can you scale it like you would scale independent? I don't think so. It's not impossible, but I think you'll have more of an edge if you do it by yourself opposed to if you went into a franchise. Now, buying contracts, I often get asked that a lot, or here and there, not a lot, but I get asked, Fabio, should I buy contracts? I've sold contracts before, right? Sold them just outright. Now, I've never purchased any, like for myself, but I have sold contracts before in certain areas, in certain markets that I work out of, right? Now, if you're going to buy a contract, I would suggest that you can control it. Okay, all percentages, you can control it free and clear. If you're gonna, fork out the money to purchase a contract, number one, do your due diligence on the company before you purchase that contract. Okay, so you want to ask the seller, why is he selling, why is she selling? You want to get a little intel on the decision maker, the contact person. You want to understand the company dynamics. So it's a lot of different things. You want to do your research on the company that you're about to purchase the contract of. Okay, so this video wasn't really meant to be a long video. I don't have a whole hell of a lot to say, but I do want to let you know, do your homework before you do either or. I would suggest that you get your own contracts, control your own contracts, because here's the deal. When you go out and you pick up one contract, whether you stumbled into that contract or whether it was just something strategic that you've done, at least you now know how to go about to pick up contracts. If you just the type you say, hey, Fabio, I'm going to lease contracts from this subcontractor company, or I'm going to get under a franchise. Well, they supply you with that work. You don't control it, but they supply you with that work. Okay, so yeah, you can make buku money, but your margins is even smaller. I don't care if you're with a franchise, I don't care if you're dealing with a subcontracting company. The margins is smaller. So yeah, whereas you might never made $7,000 a month, is it possible to make $7,000 a month, $9,000, $10,000 a month with a subcontractor company? Yeah, probably even more than with a franchise. So, and that's probably surprising for you to hear me say. If you had to do one or the other between a franchise and a subcontractor company, I would probably tell you a franchise, right? Because they usually better systematically put together. Subcontractor companies, the margins are through the roof, like 80-20, like where they take 80% and give you 20, or 70-30. Now, I'm a big 70-30 is my thing when I'm dealing with my subcontractor. I give them 70% though, and I take the 30. Dealing with the subcontractor company, they'll take 70, you doing all the work, and they give you 30%. So again, you want to also make sure you look at the paperwork of both subcontracting companies and franchise companies alike. Okay, you want to make sure you understand it. You want to consult it possibly with a lawyer if necessary or if need be. Okay. Again, if you're buying a contract, you see somebody online, they're getting out of the business, or this contract isn't profitable for them, and you say, you know what, I just need some revenue coming in. I got a little cash to splurge out, a few $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to splurge out. I want to buy this little contract. Well, you want to make sure you definitely get a return on that investment. So what you're going to do, you want to look at, if not the monthly revenue, you want to look at how much would you make annually on this client. You want to ask the person that's selling, how much is he or she making annually on this particular client. Again, you want to ask why they're selling. You want to know what you're going into before you buy into it. Essentially, is what I'm saying. Okay. So again, buying contracts versus leasing contracts. If you wanted my opinion, I will buy before you lease, right? Because at least if you buy, you can control it. As long as there's no contingencies. Another thing on the back end, sometimes you buy a contract, and I know I've done it, where it's kind of like a finance deal. So I'll make them give me at least 75% up front of how much I'm selling it for, and I'll take 25% in monthly payments on the back end. That's for people that I just worked out those deals with. They just couldn't afford, let's say, the $5,000 up front, right? They couldn't afford it up front to pay me. So I'll take 75% of that. They have to pay me that. And then the 25% we work on the back end. That's what I did in Portsmouth, Virginia Beach, when I sold my contracts out there. That's what I did out. I didn't really do so much of it in Georgia. It was a little financing on the back end because they didn't have all of the revenue that I was looking up front. So, but it was a little bit different than my Portsmouth. My Portsmouth, I took 75% up front. We financed the back end. I also wanted them to keep my employees. I didn't want nobody to be out of work. So there's certain contingencies that I had in place. If I was going to sell it, I didn't want them to, even if they had their own workers, I didn't want my people to be out of work. So that's that. But again, I was on the receiving end, or I was on the side of selling. I wasn't on the buying side. So again, if you got different motives, if you got different ways you're looking at it, you say, well, Fabio, I want to buy, but this is what I need, then make sure you get what you need, okay? Or don't buy it. If you want to lease, and you're asking me, Fabio, between a subcontracting company and a franchise, where should I go? Percentage-wise, you don't want to go subcontracting company, okay? But do I think you probably can make more money with the subcontracting company up front than you do a franchise? Yes, my personal opinion, okay? However, if you want a better structure, a real go-to system, a system that's in place that will work, franchise will be the way to go on that deal. So it just depends on how you look at it. Again, the margin wise, as far as percentages, subcontracting company is going to kill you, but you still can make a grip in terms of revenue, and probably even more than what you would make with a franchise. But if I was to suggest, I would probably suggest that you do a franchise, because they have systems in place, and we don't necessarily know how this company has been operating if they have systems in place. Another thing, you want to do your research on both companies. So not only do your research on the company that's, let's say, selling, if you want to buy a contract, you want to do your research on them, but you also want to do your research on the company that's selling. Okay, you want to do your research on the company that's selling. You want to know a little intel about them, their business practices, whatever, right? You want to know a little bit about them. Same thing with a franchise. You want to know why you want to go with one franchise versus the other. Okay, why you're deciding to do the franchise route. But in all, if you ask me once again, I think you should, Jesus Christ, I think you should start from the bottom. You should start from the bottom, work your way up. That way you kind of get your feet wet, you understand the grind, you understand what it takes to get contracts, right? Because you've already done it. And it's just going to be a growing experience. You develop your own system. And you can also adapt other systems. I'm not telling you not to look at your competitors. If you see something that your competitors is doing that's working for them, why not adapt that philosophy in your company? You can have your own angle, your own swing to it, but if it's working for them, it may work for you, okay? So it's okay to look at the competitors. Now, you don't want to kind of copy their USP and copy exactly how they're running on either side. You don't want to do that, rather. And when I mean either side, franchise or a subcontracting company, you don't want to copy what they're doing, right? Or I mean verbatim, but if they're doing something that's working, they're making thousands of dollars, they obviously know something that you don't know, right? and you can do the exact same thing doing it independently. So you could still study these type of companies, you know, do your research on these type of companies, and then adopt some of their philosophies within your organization. Okay. Again, guys, I got 2 spots left for the coaching. 12-month coaching, 6-month lead gen. If you're interested, $1,000. Email me, sign me up in the subject line. We get you set up with that. Make sure you leave your number when you reach out to inquire about the coaching. Make sure you leave your name and number in the email so I can personally call you, tell you what to look for, what you expect from me, what I expect from you, so forth and so forth. If you're interested in the FaceTime coaching, that's 1 hour for $200. Again, once those 2 spots are gone, though, it's probably gone for the rest of the year. Probably won't be offering the lead gen 12-month coaching. So again, it's first come, first serve, $1,000, 2 spots. Okay, so the only person that could ever stop you from starting up your own dreams and making it to the top, you guys, is you. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Leave all comments in the comments section, or you can email me at HOLLYWOODJanitorialServe@gmail.com. HOLLYWOODJanitorialServe@gmail.com, and I'll talk to you shortly. Take care.